Hey, Sagittarius. Mel, intuitive coach here, excited to bring in your July 2025 bonus reading. If you are interested in a personal reading, signing up for the monthly newsletter, or entering into the free reading giveaway, you can find all of that information in the description box below the video. All right, welcome, Sag. We are going to look at sacred shifts and divine gifts. What is in store for you this month? Bottom of the deck, we have here the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune and the Chariot has been showing up all across the board for all signs for the entire month of July. I have never seen this repetitive pattern happen as much as it has this month. And what that tells me is there's a collective shift occurring. This is a turning point in history. I feel like this is profound, and how it is impacting you personally and maybe even professionally, we are going to dive into. But I feel like you are perhaps taking your life in a new direction. This could be a divine detour that shows up for you, where if you have been repeating a pattern and you feel like there's been a lot of resistance, this is about you going with the flow here and embracing a new cycle that is showing up in your world. The Wheel of Fortune is a destined event or a fated meeting that you are going to have this month that is going to bring in a renewal of some sort. The Wheel of Fortune is also known for luck. So I believe we create our own luck, and I feel like you have created for yourself a life of stability. And now you get to see more of that abundance, more of that joy playing out in your world in some way, shape, or form. So let's dive in here and get messages from your spiritual helpers. You have here Freya, and she literally represents phases and cycles. So the Wheel of Fortune kicking off, and then Freya coming in saying there is a beginning within every ending. Illusions are revealed and released. Now that could be the energy of the collective. It almost feels like there is a veil that is being lifted for each and every one of us. And it is going to impact you on a personal level, because this means that if there were illusions or denial or secrets, or if you have worn a mask to keep your identity in some way safe. Some of you are meant to shed an old identity, an old version of yourself. And this is the turning point here, Sag. So there's a reveal happening for you in order to connect you to this higher frequency, this next level that wants to manifest in your life. You have here faith in humanity, in benevolence here. Stay calm, trust the good in yourself and others, see the light in the world. Now, another message that's been showing up more often than not is try not to engage in all of the negativity. Now, it doesn't mean that you are living in an illusion by shoving that to the wayside, not knowing it's there or not paying attention to it in a way that stirs something within you to make a difference. There's something here about using the energy of struggles or challenge to help you in some way, but not focusing on the challenge in itself, by focusing on the solution, being the solution here, raising the vibration here of the planet, raising your own vibrations instead of sinking into media outlets, news, negativity, war, hunger, famine. It's not that those things don't exist, but I feel here you are being asked to help be of service in some way by being part of the solution, not part of the problem that is feeding into the fear. And that's why faith is showing up. You have Melchizedek, higher learning. You have learned from experience. More inner study is now required to further progress. So you are being asked to stay open, stay curious as you step through this portal, as you enter into this new reality, because there is a divine shift occurring. And sometimes what we do automatically, because it's our default, we are programmed. Our brain is programmed for safety. And so what we do is we default back into our old defense mechanisms that may keep us in some sort of a box. And you are meant to break out of that box at this time, Sagittarius, and to be curious. Don't be afraid to explore. Put one foot in front of the other. Take action. And even though you are showing up here as very, very intelligent, very knowledgeable, very intuitive, I feel like you have some inner growth that you are working through at this time, because as you step through this portal, it feels like you're not taking that old baggage with you. That's why this is so profound. So call in some of these spiritual helpers to help you go through this phase, this cycle, because again, Freya says there is a beginning with every ending. Things are being revealed and released. So let's dive in here. A lot of these bonus readings have been intense, especially for, I think, Libra, Virgo, maybe even Leo. If you have those placements in your chart, this could be an intense time of discovery, an intense time of growth, and you are opening yourself up to what looks to be privilege. Your higher self wants you to know that you are straddling the 10 of coins, meaning you are closer than you think. Some of you are already living in this 5D reality. This is about you working hard for your material wealth. You've invested wisely. And I see here that you've been building a legacy. Some of you may be thinking about retirement, thinking about your long-term goals. Now, you may be saying, well, what does my higher self, want me to know about the physical world? Isn't it spiritual? Isn't it inner? But I feel like what's happening is the inner world is changing, is shifting, so you can align this energy to your outer world. And that's what your higher self wants you to know. Because as you can see, there's a gate which represents boundaries. And I feel like you have created perhaps health boundaries or financial boundaries. That could be a message from your higher self. Some of you are called to heal your relationship with money. I also see here some of you paying off debt. There may even be family drama or family struggles that you've gone through that take a bit of a turn. And I feel like this turn is towards healing, towards evolving and ascending, either together. It feels like it's together, but it certainly could be truths being revealed where you may honor yourself and that contract by saying, I have fulfilled this contract here. There's higher learning to move forward into at this time. Some of you, this has to do with marriage. This is also known as the Wall Street card. And I feel like as you heal your relationship with your money, with stability, with your sense of safety and security, I feel like you start to trust again. You start to feel more secure no matter what's going on in the outer world. Now, 10 of Pentacles is also about emotional well-being, because some of you may have chose or may have been in relationship dynamics where physical materialism took precedence over emotional well-being, meaning what you had, external validation in some context, may have overcompensated in certain relationships. Some of you may have suffered from money struggles and it affected your relationships in some way or affected your stability. Your higher self wants you to know that you are moving back into alignment here with your goals, your long-term goals. But some of you may have been thrown off track. Some of you may be shedding an old identity here. So what is the block? What is the blind spot here? Possibly external noise or even the ego that tends to be very loud and it can silence that intuition. You have here the Knight of Swords. Some of you may have lost determination here, or you may have felt like you didn't want to take impulsive action. Sometimes this Knight of Swords can be a very in and out energy. Like one day you're on board, the next day you're swerving within a different lane. Because this card is showing up as the runner, it looks like this person is running in a marathon here. It feels like you've had to set some sort of boundary. So the fact that that's showing up twice for you, Sagittarius, tells me that boundaries may have been something you've struggled with, or other people encroaching into your space, your respect has been difficult. But I also see here communication. That could be a block. It could be that someone has cut you off or someone is not fully listening to understand. Oftentimes we listen to immediately respond. Before someone even gets the sentence out or finishes their story, we are automatically concocting in our brain a response. And there may have been some communication mishaps or overlaps or just different communication styles that may have blocked some sort of stability here in your world. And I'm also getting here this drive. It's like you have this very powerful drive within the mind, meaning, if you tell yourself something, Sag, you are very much going to follow through. And sometimes that's not always a good thing. When we have programmed the mind due to conditioning that has limited us, it can be difficult to break out of that cycle. So I see here that you are working on rewiring the mind, your thoughts, instead of going to maybe worst case scenario, or instead of, doing things that you've done in the past that have been conditioned in a negative or a challenging way that does interfere with communication. I feel like you're trying to rewire that so you can listen to your intuition first and foremost, so that you can communicate effectively with the people around you. And you also want to stay consistent and determined when it comes to the positive thoughts that you are telling yourself. So what is the mirror? How is this being reflected in your life? Because there's a lot of momentum. There may be a lot of new communication occurring here in your life. Some of you are building up confidence after feeling like you've lost your voice, feeling like you had to suppress, to be quiet. I feel like you're standing up for yourself here. You've been going through a realignment, and now you could physically be moving, perhaps traveling. And this is, again, the energy of speedy progress, momentum. So I feel like momentum is building here. And sometimes when that momentum gets built, we start to move forward. And what do? We immediately, put the brakes on and we say, wait a second, do I really have the confidence to move forward? Do I really have what it takes to speak up? And then we start to default back into old ways of thinking. And that's what Spirit doesn't want you to do. You have the ability to step into this powerful portal at this time. The Eight of Wands is the second fastest moving energy. And I see something happening quickly, and you may want to sit with your thoughts, but there may be a situation that is creating a bit of impatience. Okay, it feels like impatience could even be part of the blind spot where someone wants an answer quickly, or someone may want some sort of results quickly, and that could also be causing an overlap here. It could even be that you are becoming impatient with this cycle or this phase, and you may want to step out of this as well. Now, what is the shift? What needs to be released or even embraced? Boundaries again showing up, because sometimes those defenses come up and we build a wall, not a fence with a gate where we can, invite people in and we can close that gate. But this is a complete brick wall. So this tells me that either you have hit a brick wall in your career. You've heard the saying, you've hit a glass ceiling. Some of you feel like you're talking to a wall when you're trying to connect with someone. But the Nine of Wands, he's carried a lot. He is known as the wounded warrior. And I feel like you've had to overcome a lot of obstacles. But there's something else here about you. You will persevere. The shift that's showing up here is saying here, you may have some final hurdles that you will face here. But I feel like then you're on the home stretch. I think the biggest hurdle is the mind. Right? Is that Knight of Swords. It's sticking to a choice that you make that is healthy. It's in your highest good. It is aligned with your divine path. And then instead of backing up on that word or defaulting back into this wounded warrior, I feel like you have this renewed sense of determination, this bravery to say, all right, I can do this. I can go all the way. And that is what is shifting here. Because what is the gift? What is showing up here on the other side of this renewed strength? Going all in here. You have the Knight of Wands. Beautiful. So we have a lot of action in your reading today. We have divine timing playing out. It feels like there could be momentum building, and it feels like you're on a roller coaster and all you're doing is hanging on because something may be out of your control. But on a roller coaster, yes, it can be scary. Yes, there can be anticipation building as you get to the top. And I see here that you are asked to, buckle up and get in on the ride, let yourself enjoy the journey, the opportunity that is coming in, because the Knight of Wands is setting that intention. It is spontaneity. It's fun. It's, taking action towards your curiosities, and success lies within perseverance. Success lies within dedication here for your dreams. So dedicating yourself to this path that feels more empowering, this path that may even feel lighter, because some of you have been carrying a heavy load. And I feel like that could be what is being released here, because there is a cycle that is ending. Illusions are being revealed. Cloaks, masks that you have worn are being revealed or removed in order for you to come back to a part of yourself that you may have lost somewhere along the way. Now, what is the gift we talked about is the Knight of Wands, but let's look at how this gift is being integrated into your life. The outcome, the action, and the mindset to carry forward. You have the Two of Wands. So look at this beautiful wand energy. You have 4 out of 6 wands here, and wands are the suit of fire, right? And we're rolling into Leo season at the end of July through mid to end of August. So this is the time to set your intentions, to take action, to back up those, those thoughts, those beliefs, and align with your higher self. You have here this focused effort is part of the integration. Now, the Two of Wands is being at this decision point because there's progress happening here. And I see that you have this inner compass that you are asked to listen to. You are being guided to explore, but also don't let stagnation or complacency hold you back or keep you in this loop or this cycle. That's why you are asked to stay focused with your intention. So some of you are looking at this 10 of coins. Maybe this is your retirement goals. Maybe this is marriage. This could be family. Again, stability, wealth. Whatever this 10 of Pentacles is for you, it has to do with where you invest your time in the physical material world that has you feeling like you are privileged. And something I always say when this card shows up, the difference between privilege and entitlement is gratitude. And some of you have dealt with people in your life, as I think we all have, that have felt entitled, right? Entitled to some sort of compensation, entitled to something here without the gratitude with it. It feels like you are grateful for all that you have, all that you've gone through, all that you have learned. Now, some of you are teachers. All right, you are meant to teach, you are meant to coach or guide or help others in some way. You may also be called to learn at this time. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. So whatever end of that spectrum you are on, which I believe we oscillate between both many times throughout our lives, often simultaneously, it feels like you may be called here to open that doorway to your curiosities. What are you curious about? What do you want to learn? How do you want to grow? Because something here that you are moving forward in could take you all the way. If this is a relationship, I feel like this is a relationship dynamic where marriage could be involved or long-term stability could be involved here in some way. For others of you, if this is a career or a project, there could be a portal opening up that fills you with not only financial security, but spiritual wealth, because the suit of the wands is not only fire and spirit, it's the spiritual energy behind what it is that we do. It's our inspiration, our willpower, our creativity. And I feel like that is being infused in all areas of your life. And maybe that's where that brick wall has shown up, because it seems like you've hit a bit of either a dead end, or it feels like, okay, I have learned what I've needed to learn. Now it's time to move forward on a new learning journey. And there has been some resistance here. There has been maybe hanging on to old dynamics or old structures that you have outgrown. Some of you have seen the news, or some of you have seen the struggles around you and even in your own world. And that may have caused you to put up that wall, right? You may have said, I don't want to travel because of what's happening, or I don't want to fall in love again because my heart's been broke. But Spirit is saying here, raise your vibration, because happiness, growth, and even struggle is part of our human experience. But happiness is your birthright. You deserve here to create a happy, abundant life. It does not mean that you're not going to go through, any of these challenges, but it's the mind. It's what you do with those challenges, how you learn, how you evolve. So there's definitely shifts coming in here for you. Stay calm. Trust the good in yourself and others, and see the light not only in the world, but within yourself. Because Sag, I feel like you're shining at this time. You are that lighthouse. You are like that beacon. And sometimes with the lighthouse, it attracts all sorts of energies. So make sure that you are calling in the divine to protect yourself from those energies that may try to sneak in and not have the best of intentions. That is what I have for you, Sag. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of this journey, and I am sending you lots of love.